Hey, healing family. Today I'm going to do a brain retraining round and some discussion around slow living and simplifying your routine as part of your healing journey. So I am going to jump right into the brain retraining round part of this practice first, so that those of you who are here and just enjoy the meditations can do that first. And then if you want to hang around and hear a little bit of my thoughts about how this factors into our healing, I will talk about that a little bit more in depth after our practice. So let's begin by setting up for our mindfulness practice today. We're going to start by finding a comfortable position, and we're going to close our eyes and take some deep breaths. We're going to focus on wherever our breath feels comfortable today. We want to listen to our body and be respectful of what our body is telling us that it needs. If it feels safe to explore with a deep belly breath, allowing our bellies to expand and our chest to expand, and then taking a deep exhale, releasing any stress or tension, that's awesome. If we want to experiment with just counting our breath, or just centering in on our breath as it exists right now, no judgment, no harshness, just allowing our breath to ground us in the present moment. We're going to focus on that sensation of that breath entering our body and leaving our body. Inhale and exhale. Maybe even visualizing the energy as it comes into our body and transforms, and any stress or tension leaving as we exhale. And feel your body relax with each breath. We're also going to focus on creating a quiet, peaceful space in our mind, somewhere where we feel calm and still. Maybe a garden or a beach or our bed, wherever we feel good. We want to then imagine ourselves there in our mind's eye, really feel with all of our senses that we're in this space. And also we want to imagine a gentle, soothing light, filling our mind and body and spirit, unifying them and bringing us peace and tranquility. Now we're going to have a conversation with our limbic system. I want you to picture your amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for emotional response and stress. And we're going to be gentle but firm, like we're talking to a child who's overreacting to something or has in the past, and we're going to tell our amygdala, it's okay to calm down now. We are safe. Please calm down. We don't need to overreact. The past symptoms that were caused by this overreactivity and hypervigilance in the nervous system no longer have to be here. Now we are trying new ways of being every day, and we are focusing on resting and recharging. We might have to repeat this a few times. Amygdala, it's okay to calm down. We are safe now. A lot of our symptoms have been caused by hypervigilance, but now we are trying new ways of being every day. Every single day we are resting, we are recharging, and we are healing. And we're going to actually visualize that amygdala relaxing, its heightened alertness easing into a state of calm. Sometimes I like to imagine that, it's one of those annoying fire alarms that keeps beeping and you have to go up and hit that reset button, or it's a stereo that is on too loud and you have to just turn down the volume. So whatever speaks to your limbic system, or maybe more metaphysical, we imagine that limbic system, that amygdala in our brain, and we picture maybe what used to be this red or chaotic or flashing energy, and it's replaced by a calm, glowing blue or white light that just is very gently glowing. So we're just shifting that state. And then we're going to explore visualizing a change in our daily routines. So we're talking about slow living today. So I want you to imagine the moments when you usually dissociate, maybe through mindless scrolling, or you pack your day so full of things or so full of thoughts and chaos and anxiety and stress. But instead, I want you to picture what it would look like if during your daily routine today you spent time being mindful, taking deep calming breaths. See yourself engaging in gentle movements like walking or stretching. Visualize sitting in nature, even if you're just sitting by the window or you're outside. and observing the world around you, the rustling of the leaves, the chirping of the birds, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the breeze in your hair. Feel the peace and presence of these moments. Take a breath, remind yourself of where you are and how you're feeling. We're changing the way that we view our day-to-day life. It's very easy when we have been stuck in hypervigilance or chronic illness that we may have fallen into these patterns of hypervigilance, of dissociation, of chaos, or feeling stuck or frozen. It's not always fight or flight. Sometimes it's freeze mode that we get stuck in, or fawning mode that we get stuck in. So we really need to focus in here on where we are now versus where we want to be. And sometimes the patterns that we've gotten stuck in become more habitual. It's the old neural pathways. So even as we begin to maybe get some more energy, or we begin to change our thoughts, or we begin to try to visualize successes on a larger scale, we might lose sight of what it looks like to make small, day-to-day, moment-to-moment changes. So one thing I like to think about that goes along with this theme of slow living that we can visualize right now as part of our healing rounds is just imagining mindfully doing chores. Keeping your life full of maybe only the possessions that are meaningful and useful to you, and paring away those things that don't bring you purpose or joy or just add chaos or clutter to your life. Picture yourself engaging in daily tasks with a sense of purpose and calm. As your energy increases and you feel more able to do things, rather than planning these huge things that you want to go out and do, what is your day going to look like with just small, subtle shifts of slow, mindful living and purpose-driven living? Maybe we imagine that as we clean or organize, we're surrounded by items that bring us joy and serve a function. We no longer feel overwhelmed by our environment or stressors around us. We've pared down excess to eliminate stress, and we've created a serene environment conducive to our healing. And feel the satisfaction of maintaining a space that reflects simplicity and intention. So let's move to our future visualization. Let's imagine ourselves as we are healing, living in a calm environment, our daily routine aligning with the seasons. Simple things. Maybe we picture ourselves waking up and brewing a cup of tea and lighting a candle and reading our book, doing our meditations, having a routine where we do small amounts of chores throughout the day as we pace ourselves because we now have the energy to do things that we couldn't do before. It's simple, but it's profound. Every moment is mindful and full of presence. Even in the Buddhist tradition, when the monks are cleaning the temple, they are fully in that moment. They are mindfully meditating on the act of sweeping down the stairs. They are taking the time and space to fully be in the moment, like mindful eating even. Imagine that when you're eating that meal, you are in such a calm limbic system state that you are watching the food on your fork. You are savoring the feeling, the textures, the flavors in your mouth. You aren't rushing through distracted. You're mindfully there. As you're cleaning, you're grateful that you have a home to clean. Or as you're going for a walk, you're mindfully feeling the placement of your heel to toe on the floor, on the ground. And envision yourself able to be fully in that moment, without distraction, without hypervigilance, feeling focused and centered. By slowing down and reducing our distractions, our limbic system can shift out of that fight or flight mode. We feel restful, but we are also able to restore and recharge. Picture your body and mind in a state of parasympathetic activation. You are relaxed, your heart rate is steady, your mind is clear and peaceful. And to conclude our mindfulness session today, let's affirm the following positive qualities that we are embracing. So you can repeat these out loud or in your mind. I embrace minimalism and simplicity and the peace that it brings. Slow living helps me heal and find balance. I am mindful and present in each moment. I live my life in alignment with the seasons, seasons of energy, seasons of change, seasons of rest. My body and mind are calm and relaxed. I live a simple, fulfilling life. I am grateful for the ability to focus and be in the moment. My nervous system is healing and I am thriving. I am at peace with my surroundings and myself. Now take a deep breath in and out. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes and bring this sense of calm and presence with you into the rest of your day and the rest of your week. And thank yourself for doing this practice round today. And remember that each moment of mindfulness brings you closer to healing. So I do want to talk a little bit about why I think this is important on our healing journey. Slow living is really, in essence, about intentionally decelerating the pace of your life. It's a conscious choice that we make to prioritize activities that foster presence and mindfulness and genuine connection over the hurried and often disconnected routines of modern life. So this lifestyle encourages unplugging from constant digital distractions, enjoying our life fully in the present, embracing new enriching activities, being present with our loved ones and present with ourselves. So the first step that I think is really important here is understanding and kind of embracing this idea of like unplugging. So some ideas that I think are useful, and what I want to make sure I preface this with is when you are chronically ill or chronically fatigued or in a lot of pain, a lot of times we've all gone through a phase. If we're here, if we've found brain retraining, we have gone through phases of chronic stress mode, chronic pain mode, being so stuck that we probably did end up dissociating and going into this kind of world where we're stuck in bed or we ended up doom scrolling. But then it becomes second nature. It is so addictive to our brain, these screens. So even as we maybe start to feel better and change our routines and have more energy and have more presence, our brain is stuck in the negative dopamine dependent addictive cycle of the digital world. So part of our healing, I think, that's really helpful is a digital detox, because constant exposure to screens and social media we know can lead to mental fatigue and stress. So when we can unplug, at least for portions of our day, we create space for mindfulness. So maybe we set aside specific times for checking our emails or messages and dedicate other times to being fully present. When we engage in activities, let's focus on having a mindful presence. So maybe when we're cooking, we attempt to cook from scratch and be mindful of every part of that journey. When we tend to a garden that we plant, that is so encouraging, where we have to fully be a part of that moment from start to finish. Or even just taking a walk in nature, but instead of tuning out to a podcast, we just feel our feet, we look around at the nature around us. And incorporating new stimulating activities into your routine to promote neuroplasticity. This is the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. And it's so much easier to do this when we are trying new ways of being rather than just trying to train our brain to think new thoughts. I think a lot of times in brain retraining programs, we focus so much on the new ways of thinking, but we don't necessarily encourage enough of doing new things. And that is going to be the quickest way to incorporate mind and body and form those new neural pathways quicker and make them stronger. So let's think about creating some new daily routines. Maybe for our morning, we have a mindfulness practice to set the tone for the day. We try some hobbies, like maybe creativity-based hobbies, painting or playing an instrument, to stimulate our brain and provide a sense of accomplishment and a dopamine rush that isn't a screen. And then some physical movement, gentle exercise, walking, stretching, to release endorphins and reduce stress hormones and promote our brain health. Even if we're not quite there yet, being fully engaged in the moment, we can focus on the physicality of our senses, like mindful eating, where we savor each bite, or sitting in a room or out in nature and paying attention to what we can see and hear and feel. And we want to work on doing a lot of these things because it becomes a setting where we're more mindful and engaged, but we're also breaking negative cycles of perseveration, which is repetitive, unproductive thought patterns. And we're breaking the pattern of dissociation. So rather than zoning out, we're practicing on being mindful. And this is going to be much more conducive to creating new brain thought patterns. So what can we do here? Let's think a little bit about creating a checklist of things that we wish we could include in our daily life, how this would look for us. And I did talk a little bit in the script that we did a little earlier about just minimalism and paring down our belongings. Now, I'm not a minimalist by any sense of the word, but simplifying your life and cutting down on the excess and the clutter, which also can become so overwhelming if you've been sick for a long time and you haven't been able to clean and you just get surrounded by things you don't really need or you haven't had a chance to go through and get rid of. It can be very freeing. You can get rid of things linked to your old personality, your old style of being. You can let go of things that no longer serve you, things that feel limiting, things that tie you to things that you maybe don't want to be a part of your life anymore, just letting go of those things. Not only does it feel good to get rid of that excess clutter, but it also makes it easier and more manageable to keep up with new routines physically around keeping your house clean, being able to mindfully have a space that's easy to clean, easy to access, and then easier to do these new activities. I think we've all tried a new creativity challenge or an exercise challenge, and then we get so overwhelmed because we look around and it's like, well, my house is too messy for this, and I just can't keep up with it. So once we can pare down that noise and clutter and simplify our living space so it feels less chaotic to our nervous system, we have the time and energy to dedicate to other things. Now, there is some science behind this. So our autonomic nervous system controls our involuntary physiological functions. And we know that this can go into sympathetic fight or flight mode or parasympathetic rest and digest mode. Slow living and minimalism help balance these systems. It reduces the chronic activation of this overreactivity associated with stress, and it promotes a more parasympathetic baseline to foster relaxation and healing. Constant stimulation from fast-paced lifestyle and doom scrolling keeps us in sympathetic activation, and that keeps us in overdrive, and it leads to chronic stress. So this can manifest with physical symptoms as well, like higher heart rate and elevated blood pressure and a heightened state of alertness. When we can shift to parasympathetic through slow living, we are doing things like mindfulness and deep breathing and time in nature, and this results in lower stress and reduced inflammation and improved well-being. Neuroplasticity, we know, is key for brain retraining and limbic system healing. This is our brain's ability to reorganize itself and form new neural connections. When we engage in these mindful, intentional activities, we enhance neuroplasticity. Mindfulness and meditation and slow breathing and deliberate movements like yoga and Tai Chi encourage the brain to form these new healthy pathways. This reduces anxiety and improves focus, enhances emotional regulation, and we also improve our cognitive flexibility, the ability to adapt to new situations and think creatively. This helps us break old habits and establish new positive behaviors. Cortisol is the stress hormone, and these levels rise in response to stress. When we have chronic high cortisol levels, like when we're stuck in fight or flight mode for a long time, this leads to a lot of chronic health issues like impaired immune function, weight gain, increased risk of diabetes, chronic diseases, chronic pain. So when we engage in slow living activities, we actually reduce cortisol levels, things like time in nature and mindfulness and exercise. So lower cortisol levels are associated with better health outcomes. And then we look at our mental health benefits. There have been so many studies on mindfulness to reduce rumination, which is a common symptom of anxiety and depression. We switch over to focusing on positive affirmations, positive experiences, and that helps with alleviating those symptoms. And simplifying our life, reducing mental clutter and that overwhelm associated with managing too many things. When we focus on what truly matters, we experience this greater sense of control and clarity. And improve physical health. When we engage in this slow living, we reduce inflammation, we get better sleep, we have better physical outcomes, we have more time to be more physically active, we feel more able to do these things. And even our social and environmental benefits. Exposing ourselves to natural environments lowers our stress. Getting outside more is so key for healthy mindfulness, improving our mood. And when we get outside more, we maybe are more likely to form social connections and have meaningful relationships over superficial online interactions. And this is vital for our nervous system, our emotional health, for polyvagal theory based emotional and nervous system regulation. So let's think about some ways to implement this into our daily practice. Take some time to journal, to brainstorm what you would like a mindful soul living practice to look like for yourself. I hope this helped someone today. I hope you guys have an amazing week, just full of so much healing and love. And I will talk to everyone super soon. If you want to take a moment to subscribe, to like the video, to comment below if you have any questions or feedback, just let me know how things are going on your healing journey. And I hope everyone has an awesome day. Bye.